welcome to the Mirja Terrace of Fortuna's. Yeah, so this has all got automatic watering, and the whole system actually from here down in Fortuna's is gravity fed, and it has its own system. Good. It starts through these metal pipes and comes from the water tank up the top, and then it comes here. This is the on and off for the gravity fed, and this is the filter. So this filter needs cleaning once a week, and then it comes down and it meets this tap here. This tap actually has a wide tube that, if you follow it, is connected to the large tap here, and then is also connected to the tank to the lower tank, but above. So the upper tank and the lower tank are connected by these pipes. Good. So this tap goes to Mirja Terrace, the lower terrace. It also stops off at the lemon tree where there's like a parsley forest, and it's a tap that you can turn on and off for the parsley forest and lemon tree watering. It's not ideal that it waters something that's so low and that it also does the lemon tree. Like ideally things would be on the same level, but that goes all the way down to Mirja Terrace. And the plan is to put in a hand watering hose in Mirja Terrace that comes off of this, and so it's a large 20mm tube. So this one, the green one, the 16mm tube, this does this bed. I think it does the 3 beds at the end there. So it's a mini system, and I don't think it needs as long. Then come back to me. And this orange tap does this bed, this bed, this bed, and the cabbages below, next to the fruit trees. And I think also does the chayota. Yeah, this on the far left against the wall. So I found it really necessary to divide the systems with the gravity-fed pressure. The far beds weren't getting enough water, and so now there's the 2 systems. There was an attempt to bury the pipes under the ground, but it wasn't successful, so they're still on the top, and ideally there would be some wood put on, and then it would be under the earth. First, let's see whether or not the division is the ideal division, because I'm aware that there's one larger section and then one smaller section. For now it's fine with the pressure and each garden is getting watered, but we'll wait and see. So this bed has cabbages and peramelones. It's really noticeable that it's really hard to compost. They've been there a long time and they're not producing very well. So one of the things I was thinking about was to take the peramelones out and to make loads and loads and loads of cuttings, and to put them actually where there are walls that they can fall down. So where the marigold is here was one of the spots I was imagining. Cool. So these cabbages are perennial cabbages. I think they've been here at least 3 years, and they need composting. They're the Kubo ponds that have been dotted all the way along the garden. And these are so that the rats don't eat our watering tubes looking for water. I've attempted to make them edible with water convolvulus and mint. It didn't really go very well. The plants just were like, ah, it's too wet. But ideally I'd like to make them edible. In summer you have to keep a real eye on these kubos that they don't dry out. Once a week they need filling at least. So we have composted quite heavily this one, which is filled with broccoli and some renegade potatoes and the garlics. So the garlic are on their 2nd year here, so when we take them out they'll be really big. perennial kale and cabbage as well. And there's a parsley plant that keeps self-seeding in the middle and on the outside. This one I think is another one that we didn't compost recently, maybe only a couple of months ago. So in here, so more broccoli has been planted. It's the kind of broccoli that sprouts, so you don't just get one head, you should get more than one head. The plants haven't had ideal conditions. First they had bottles on top of them and they really didn't like the bottles at all. So I think they're going to bolt and go to seed early. You can see they're already flowering quite young. Yeah. And they were quite a long time in our nursery as well, so it wasn't ideal. But still, broccoli! Whoa, whoa! So this one has been composted really well recently, within the last 2-3 weeks. This one, no, also needs weeding and composting. It's quite a jungle. This one also is filled with broccoli and some rucola on the edges. And yeah, this is the sunniest part of this garden actually. This bed and this bed especially, they are the sunniest parts of the garden. The rest is quite shady. It's a north-facing garden, and that's great in summer. But yeah, in winter it wasn't so good for planting. So yeah, you can see that actually one of the really beneficial things about having these 3 beds separate from the others are that because they're the sunniest beds, you can regulate water much more easily. Because I found that this one was continuously dry whilst the other ones were quite wet. So that's one of the great things about the 2 systems that we have, is that these 3 are the sunniest beds, especially this one. So we've got cabbages and the special mustard plants here, and a self-seeded tomato that keeps coming back every year. She hasn't done that well, like but this year she's huge. She's into the fig tree, so we'll see what happens with that. Yeah, in this part of the garden there was a plan for the summer to put up large, like metal poles, and to make aerial garden space for climbing things like chayote, like pantana, like beans, and that will provide more shade. Originally we were talking about soldering the aerial lattice, but actually I think it'd be easier to just buy netting and put a line of netting and maybe some wire going the other way, and yeah, they would be cemented in the ground and just have some netting, and then heavily composted, and probably with their own watering system as well. Those plants that climb up can provide more shade in summer, because yeah, it's true that when Kalima comes, just one day and everything is like great. All right, we move to the next section.